I am Curran Bhatia. We're here in Midtown Manhattan here with Avril Mathie, who's fighting Saturday night against Ramla Ali. It's a huge opportunity. Avril, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm super excited.
This is your first time fighting in New York City. I know you've been to New York City before. You almost fought here once before.
I
so
did.
What does it feel like to now finally get the opportunity to fight in New York?
This is the dream. Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
It's, the biggest, most exciting venue for boxing in the world. So I'm just so excited.
And it's not going to be an easy test, of course. You're taking on Ramla Ali, who has become an international sensation, her story and everything that she's gone through to get to this point. She's undefeated. You're undefeated. I'm sure you've done your homework and watched tape. What are your thoughts on Ramla Ali?
I think Ramla Ali, you're right. She's a very good fighter. She had an amazing amateur career. And she's going to be a tough opponent. It's going to be a really good fight for both of us, though, because she's also never fought anybody like me. In fact, she's never really been tested in the pros at all. The only opponents that were somewhat competitive were significantly smaller and shorter than her and didn't have the reach to get near her. And given that she's a long fighter, then, it was like an easy night's work for her. But we are the same height. Yeah. And I know how to fight on the outside too. We both do. And I also know how to fight on the inside and how to apply smart pressure. And that's something she's very uncomfortable with, from what I can see. And that's where I've got to take the fight, to where she's uncomfortable and make her, she's great in that long range, but in close and under pressure, going backwards, she folds.
So it sounds like, from what you're saying, the plan is you're going to close some distance and pressure her and make her uncomfortable. Is that the game plan?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm also going to fight on the outside because that's my comfort zone too. And but where I'm going to win the fight is by mixing it up and pushing her back and getting her under pressure.
Well, it's a huge opportunity for you. You're moving up in weight for this opportunity. So when you got the call for this, what was going through your head when you got the call, and what was the decision like to move up in weight for this opportunity?
It was an easy decision. So fun fact, actually I was offered this fight a little over a year ago, but I turned it down because it was 3 weeks notice and I didn't know how big Ramla was. All I knew that she was like in the weight division above. And when you see the videos, she looks big because she always fights smaller girls because she was always fighting girls from smaller opponents.
Right.
And so I was just like, just quickly on paper, former Olympian, large for the weight class. I've been, 3 weeks notice. Like, yes, it's a great opportunity, but it's also like, what's the point in taking an opportunity if you're ill prepared, right? Like you don't want to go in and then look bad. So I turned it down, but at the same time I was kicking myself because I was like, damn it. Like I hate having to turn down something like that's such a big fight for me like that. And so when it popped up, came around the second time, I was like, let's go. I'm ready for this. And having had her offered to me that first time, I then went away, and followed her fights for over a year of like watching her. Oh, that's that girl I was supposed to fight. Let me look at her fight. And I started to realize, oh, she's actually my height. And it's not that she's giant for the division. It's that all the girls she fights are from like a division or two lower. She's never been hit with power. She doesn't know how to handle all that. And I started to watch and pay more attention to her. And that's when I was like, okay, I got this fight. And then this time when I was, it's only been confirmed since the start of January. So like a month, but I knew it was probably happening a month before that. So I've had a full training camp. I'm ready for her. And I've studied every one of her videos.
So you're clearly prepared for this challenge in Ramla Ali. This card, this is a historic card. We knew it was a great event with Amanda Serrano fought Katie Taylor here at Madison Square Garden. Now it's Amanda Serrano versus Erica Cruz. There's other undisputed fights with Alicia Baumgardner. Of course, your fight. It's a great card top to bottom. What are your thoughts of being involved in this card?
Honestly, it's such an honor. Like the names on this show, especially with the women and even with the men, like there's a lot of, big name prospects. But with the women, it's like the biggest names that have achieved so much in this sport. It's like just an honor to be included in that list.
It's going to be an incredible event, top to bottom. Do you have an official prediction for your fight? Will it be a stoppage victory, a decision? What do you think is going to happen?
I think she's going to be hard to stop because she likes to dance and run away a little bit, but that's my goal. So let's see if we can get there, because she's obviously the home fighter and that as well. So I'm gonna, whether it's a stoppage or just a win, I'm gonna have to put on a pretty convincing win to get the judges to go my way, I think.
You mentioned the opportunity came around about a year ago, and you've been following her career. Now that it's been fight week and you've spent some time in press conferences and at the weigh-in facing off, what have you felt about Ramla's energy? What have you felt about, have you picked anything up? Did you learn anything in fight week?
I feel like yesterday at the press conference when we did the face-off, she was a little bit nervous.
Okay.
As she was walking onto the stage, I was looking at her face to see if she would make eye contact with me, and she didn't. She sort of was like walking onto the stage. Yeah. And then when she was talking in the press conference, Eddie was right in the middle, like blocking our vision, but I was kind of like, and so she could see that I was looking at her because, her eyes are looking at Eddie, like she can see, but she didn't change her vision path to look at me. She actually didn't look at me at all until the moment that we actually had to do the face-off. Mm-hmm. And I sensed a lot of nervousness in her eyes. And actually when I watched the video of it later, there's one angle that she looks quite terrified. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just the camera angle or what, but she didn't look so confident yesterday. And I made a little joke about it in a social media post last night that she probably saw, and she was a lot more confident with her gaze today, that's for sure. So, whether it's fake confidence or real, maybe it was just a little bit of nerves yesterday, but she's feeling good. I don't know, but that was just what I picked up so far.
So it's safe to say going into this fight, you feel like you have the mental edge, so far at least.
Yeah, I think so. For me, I know I'm more than ready. I know I've prepared well for this fight. And we have a lot of mutual friends that have given me a little insight as to apparently she's a little mentally weak.
Okay.
So, I'm sure she's feeling the pressure. And for her, like for me, I've got everything to gain. Mm-hmm. But for her, she's got everything to lose. Yeah. Like if I didn't win this fight, it's not even my weight class. It's against a former Olympian. Like for her, she's the one that's a former Olympian and in the weight class. If she loses to a girl that's smaller than her, where's she going to go from here, Mm-hmm. Like I'm not even a big name yet. So I feel like she's got a lot more pressure on her than I have on me. So for me, I'm here to grab the opportunity by the horns and do my absolute best with it and take the win and watch my career soar after that, and a lot more opportunities come my way. But for her, I think it's sort of like a bit more life or death,
Well, speaking of not being a big name yet, if you are successful on Saturday night, what does that do for your name, for your career trajectory? What does the win do?
A lot, because I haven't had the opportunity to fight a high-level opponent yet. I'm ready, and I have been ready for a while. I was supposed to fight Ebony Bridges for her world title last year, and unfortunately, the IBF ordered a mandatory fight between her and Shannon O'Connell before our fight could be announced. So that was unfortunate, but I was in full preparation for that. And I was up until a few weeks before the fight because, not before the fight, before the purse bid, because there was still a chance, there was still behind the scenes sort of negotiations going on and stuff like that. And Ebony unfortunately has a broken hand from that fight when she did end up doing that fight in December. Amazing fight, by the way. And she's going to be out probably till later this year. So hopefully a win against Ramla will set up. I think regardless, it will set up a fight with Ebony later this year. But a win against Ramla might give me some other title shots against the other girls sooner than that, while Ebony's still recovering from surgery.
And your plan in terms of weight going forward, you're obviously, this is not your weight class, you're moving up in weight. Is there any chance that you would say, hey, I'm comfortable here, I'm doing well here, that you would stay in this weight class, or do you think you'd go back down?
The weight cut was fun. It was the easiest one I've ever done. So it is tempting, but we'll see. I just think there's a lot to achieve in my own weight class. We have a lot of talent at 118 that I am really keen to take on. So I'd rather take all my opportunities at 118 and then properly move up to 122, where I'm actually putting on weight in the gym and, eating more and filling out my body a little bit more to be as competitive as I can be at 122. If I'm sort of going back and forth between, then you're not as competitive as you can be in the higher weight class.
You are originally from Australia. You're in Miami now. Obviously, the Australian fans are going to be tuning in for this fight, whatever time it is. What do you think the support's going to be like back home for you?
Great. I mean, I left Australia before I turned pro and actually still in my amateur career. So I'm not super well known in Australia. But this fight being here in Madison Square Garden on the same card as Sky, who's obviously massively well known, having been to the Commonwealth Games for Australia, is getting me a little bit of attention. But I think winning this fight is, going to really make the Australians be like, oh, that's who she is. Yeah, she's ours, So, but as far as friends, family, friends of friends of friends of friends, there's going to be a lot of support for me back home. And
at the top of this card, Amanda Serrano versus Erica Cruz. It's for the undisputed title. What are your thoughts on Amanda Serrano and what she's achieved in the sport? One of the pound for pound best fighters, men, women, and she's moved up and down weight seamlessly. Your thoughts on this main event?
Honestly, I haven't watched any of Erica Cruz's fights, so I can't give an actual prediction. Yeah. But I can agree with you on Amanda Serrano. I've watched her fight many times and it's hard to go against her ever. Even with Katie Taylor, it was hard to go against her because she is just an absolute beast. And a lot of people don't realize she went up 2 weight classes from where she is now just to fight Katie, but she's won world titles higher than that and way lower than that. And I believe she won her world title at 140 and then the next fight won the world title at 115, 7 weight divisions lower.
That's amazing.
Absolutely amazing, and carries her power even, in the higher divisions. Yeah. That fight against Katie, who, ranked in the top 3, if not number 1 pound for pound, it's she carried her, she wobbled Katie. There's not many girls that can go up weight classes and have that much power to wobble and knock girls out in those higher weight classes. So yeah, Amanda is just incredible. That's what I think of her.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's the fact that she was that competitive with Katie Taylor when moving up in weight and being a 7 division champion. I mean, that just doesn't happen. Very, very rare. You mentioned a fight with Bridges maybe in the future. In terms of just your overall boxing aspirations, things you want to do, I'm sure you look at people like Amanda Serrano and what she's done. There's so many undisputed champions in women's boxing now, and it seems like women's boxing is finally slowly getting the stage it's been deserved for such a long time. I'm sure you have aspirations in this sport. What are your ultimate goals in this sport?
Honestly, I just want to have good fights, world title or no world title. Yeah. That's actually not that important to me. Really? The only reason I want to win a world title is because once you have that world title, you have all the opportunities. Everybody wants to fight you. Yeah. All the promoters will put you on the show. It's not oh, hi, can I get on a card? Oh, hi, can I try and fight this person? It's no, we want you and everybody wants to fight you. And that's what I want, But as far as the actual belt, cool. But for me, I just want good fights against good opponents. And that's really the reason I'm here.
Well, you're certainly on your way. To close it out, your message to your fans and supporters, obviously in Miami, in Australia, and around the world, what would be your final message to them?
If you're thinking of getting into boxing and you think you're a little too old, you're not. Do it anyway. Just, follow your heart and keep practicing and showing up to the gym and you'll get there.
And final question for you, your final message for your opponent, Ramla Ali. What would you say to her right now?
I hope you've been training hard because I want the best Ramla and I want this to be an incredible fight. Let's do it for the fans.
Well, there you have it. It's going down tomorrow night, Saturday, February 4th, Madison Square Garden. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.